Shorthand notations are used for null and alternative hypotheses to make them easier and quicker to reference. The null hypothesis is labeled as capital H with 0 in subscript. Sometimes you'll hear it pronounced as H sub 0. The alternative hypothesis is labeled as capital H with A in subscript, or capital H sub A. We write both of these hypotheses based on the parameter of interest in a given study. Let's try an example. A company wants to test if a new training program improves employee productivity. The company randomly selects 100 employees and divides them into two groups. 50 employees receive the new training program, while the other 50 employees do not receive any training. After 1 month, the company measures the productivity level of each employee and compares the mean productivity level between the two groups. What are the null and alternative hypotheses in this study? Before we get started on answering or finding the null and alternative hypotheses, we first have to understand what is being assessed here, or what is the study actually trying to find. So let's look at the beginning of our example problem again. The company wants to test employee productivity. So that is the parameter of interest. And our hypotheses will be centered around the employee productivity. Now that we have found that our parameter is employee productivity, we can make the hypotheses for the study. Let's start with the null hypothesis. Remember that the null hypothesis has no significant difference or association, in our case, with the employee productivity. So our hypothesis would be something like this. The new training program has no effect on employee productivity, and there is no significant difference in the mean from the productivity level between the two groups, the experimental group and the control group. Now let's work on figuring out the alternative hypothesis for this study. Remember that the alternative hypothesis has to show a significant difference or association between the two groups of people. And we needed to also state our interest in the test. So if we again look in our problem, they want the new training to improve their employee productivity. So for the alternative hypothesis, it'll be something like this. The new training program improves the employee productivity. There is a significant difference in the mean productivity level between the group that received the training and the group that did not receive any training.